Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. Today we're going to finish up this weekend's special selection, and we have a drum playthrough today, which is pretty cool because when we did Drum Cam Week, I was actually pretty fond of learning some of this that I wasn't already aware of. The drum kit is not my forte. I know some ideas in it, but actually watching drummers do their thing fascinates me, and it gives me some ideas on writing rhythmic percussive elements because usually I'm pretty used to just having more of an idea of the like an orchestral percussion section, which is a snare, a bass drum, and then all sorts of auxiliary percussion elements. So seeing somebody play kit is really interesting. Helps me get into their mindset. This one comes at us from Noah Dysart or Dysart. I'm not sure. I apologize if I pronounced it incorrectly. Could you react to structural disorder? The fool who would be king. The only video I could find is the drum playthrough, but it is still the official audio. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And the video itself is comically referred to as the fool who wanted to play drums. Alright, let's get into this and see what's up. Ooh, that little bell hit in there was nice. Not a fan of the shirt though. Come on, bass players. Yeah, keeping that metronome on the right cymbal, the inverted, whatever that is. That really interesting on rhythm on the hi-hat and snare. So we're in 5 and we move from downbeats to offbeat, so it almost gives it a 6 feel. We could see the hi-hat being used on 8th notes in the previous section as a metronome. And we actually have moved to 6 now, which was very smooth. It works well because the last section felt like 6. And the only accented beat is 3 out of the 6, so that's interesting. And we're back to this. I really like that guitar rhythm. It's doing some fun stuff with dotted notes to switch downbeats and offbeats. Got a fun little circus vibe going on. The microphone effect on vocals helps with that. What a smooth theatric voice. Yeah, nice little pauses there.
Was taking place beneath the balding spot on his head. Razors and poison, bullets and lies.
Lots of voices so far. I think the piano and the synth and all that's just the keyboard, but utilizing a lot of different patches on it.
Nations will weep in fear.
Tempo change. Oh man, they're kind of all over the place with this. this, and I'm loving it.
Liars and breakers, thieves in their guild, thirsty for money and for blood to be spilled, and no one
Yeah, that nice little drag there on the snare. Got like a ragtime thing going on in the piano. So that section, it was either 15/16 or 4/4. It's very close to standard though. Very Dream Theater-esque right now, especially with that one bass kick rhythm that the guitarists were replicating. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. We change up the feel by putting in straight eighth notes on the bass. Yeah, I think they're changing time signature every other bar. I'm not getting a read on this section. Yeah, I dug that solo. Real nice. And we bring this section back. Are we going to do the straight eighths on the bass kicks now? Yeah. Bass and like a toy keyboard sounds. Yeah, this little... Oh, I thought they were going to do a call and response section. They did it once, and they were leading up to a second. But switch gears. Yeah, it's crazy. That feels like a retardando going on, or actually more... Yeah, we're gonna go with retardando. But if you nod your head, they just put in some longer notes there, probably some dotted stuff to give it this feel of dragging and expanding time. But the tempo, it doesn't change at all. Pretty cool effect.
An answer they all wanted, and they chose the easy way out, the decision of loss.
Yes.
Driven by fear and
Taking a step away from that bravado that we've had throughout, this is great contrast. I love where this is going.
told what to think and follow they did. Raised a fool to the seat of power, slowly seeping the nation in
the rhythmic phrasing. It's like 7, then 6 pulse, then a 5 pulse, and I'm wondering if it all adds up to 4/4. Yeah, great melody line there in the vocals. That rhythmic synergy, everybody in on that. The synths doing some sort of string thing. Got this nice 8th note run going behind everything. And there's that rhythm again on the bass kicks this time. Oh, and the guitar as well. Ooh.
Skitfel. Jo, jag måste höja klicket lite grann också. Ja, kör.
Alright, I'm pretty sure that is the end of that. I'm gonna let the audio run for a second though.
Den är ju svettig.
Yeah, that's it. So that was very cool. A very modern prog rock sounding track. Definitely has a sort of earlier Dream Theater feel to it, right? But there's also a lot of really cool things in there that I would say is their own flair. And I really appreciate some of those things that I'd say kind of, at least coming from this one song. Maybe if I listened to more, it wouldn't be as true. But to me, it kind of seems to be a little bit of their compositional DNA working into the song. There is one thing, it's got to be intentional, but it's odd, is there at the end, the vocalist, sorry, the vocalist has that higher pitch line, ba, 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 something like that. That high note that he hits second in that melody line, it feels a little flat to me. And it's not a lot, right? But it is just enough for me to wonder if that little bit of tension is on purpose, if he deliberately went to hit that just a little flat, or if it just, I don't know. It ground on me a little bit. But being that the rest of the song is just done so well, I have to believe it's an intentional choice. It's just an odd one, especially when intonation isn't something that comes up throughout the rest of the song. But that one moment does not detract from the awesomeness that this was. This was a joy to listen to. First of all, before I forget about it, so that bass kick rhythm that showed up multiple times. I love it. It shows up in many instruments. We have the bass kicks doing it. We've heard the bass guitar. We've heard the guitar doing it. I believe there was even one point when a keyboard was doing it in one of the voices. I'm not sure which it was, but yeah, it's a really cool rhythmic pattern that deals with uh, varying emphasized groups of 2 and 3, it sounds like to my ear. And it pops up the first 2 times that I heard it, it was the same part. I don't know if it was a chorus or it was just a revisited section, but the couple of times I heard it afterwards were in completely different contexts. So it's really cool just to hear it continuously pop up. It's this nice little theme, I guess you could say, that permeates through the song and randomly crops up, and that's pretty cool. I've talked about theme usually in context of variation, taking an idea you've already written, bringing it back later in a different context or in a different voice or maybe with some different embellishments in it, just kind of changing up that theme that you've created. And we're seeing that a little bit here. It's not as strongly done with this concept of variation attached to it, but it is a recurring idea, sort of like a motif that shows up throughout the song. So yeah, I'm a sucker for that. Uh, some people might kind of view it as maybe a cop out. You just kind of cop out, copy paste. You just kind of copy paste something you've already written into something, a thing that you're writing now. But there's actually a lot of really cool ways you can utilize it thematically and artistically to symbolize things. But even if not, I'm just a sucker for callbacks. I really am. I love it when they recognize that they've done something before and they found a new way to implement it or want to just have a callback. Hey, remember when we did this? Even if it's a little Easter egg, it's not the most prominent sound in the mix at the moment, but if you catch it, you're like, oh man, I remember that from earlier. That's cool. So it's just a little smirk moment, I guess, for me. So that's awesome. Time signatures are a big thing with these guys, and I don't even know if time signatures is the specific thing I want to point out because most of this song, I think, could be written in just 2 or 3 time signatures. It's really about pulse variation. Some of their melodic patterns feel like they're in 4. Some of them feel like they're in 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. It's really all over the place. There are a few sections, especially at the beginning, when they were just going through so many different time signatures. I was calling them out. I think it was just because the drummer was there. I was really paying attention to rhythmic qualities. But yeah, I feel like they were moving around time signatures a lot at the beginning. But we hit some really complex rhythmic ideas around the middle of the song and then again at the end of the song. And we got into some interesting time feels. I don't know what the time signature specifically was, but one of the sections felt like we did. So they had this basic repetition, this basic pattern that they were utilizing. And the first time we hear it, it's 7. Then the second time we hear it, it's 6. The last note or half of a note, well, half of a beat, I guess you could say, were cut off. And then the next time I heard 5, and then I kind of lost track of where we were going. But if you add these up, 6 and 7 is 13, 5 is 18. Assuming we went back up to 6, that would bring us to 24, which actually fits in 4/4 as a 6-bar phrase. So if they did the 7, 6, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 6, you're going to get a very heavily disjointed feeling section that can be written in 4/4. No time signature changes at all. It might not be the easiest thing to read, but having your time signature change every single bar isn't exactly intuitive either. So I'm not sure how I would have written that, assuming that 4th bar was a 5 and assuming that that was the end of the phrase, or sorry, that 4th bar is a 6 and assuming that that was the end of the phrase. But I'm like 80% sure that's what was happening there at the end, was that it is 4/4. It's a 6-bar phrase, and it's just cut up in very disjointed time feels throughout the melodic pattern, the melodic ideas. So yeah, just really fun stuff like that popping up everywhere though. Like I said, the beginning we were kind of just moving between some very standard time signatures, just constantly shifting around. And then in the middle and the end, it was more of a single idea chopped up into multiple time signatures that ended up feeling or having a specific feel, but not necessarily a change in time signature. I would be very interested to see how they go about writing this. Um, if they choose to do multiple time signatures, or if they do something like what Meshuggah does and they write their songs in 4/4. It's just nothing lines up on a bar ever for like 40 bars at a time. Um, yeah, I think that tells a little bit about a composer's mindset and how they feel music. It kind of determines how they write it. I tend to change time signatures with the patterns in the rhythms, or sorry, the rhythms of the melodic lines, just because it helps me see where accents line up. The way I was counting this, if I would count this in four, we would have the first bar would be seven, so we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The next one would be six, so then we would have, well, actually, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and you get these weird. I can't even count it without looking at it on a paper. You get these weird accented beats. Whereas if you would write it in a 7-6-5 pulse, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you get these very precise, uh, reliable, emphasized first beats of a bar. But that's just how my brain works. I tend to like to have downbeats emphasized. If you see music differently, you may write in 4/4 and never have an emphasized downbeat in your life. Just the way that you write your patterns out. So, like I said, that's something I would like to see, and kind of see where their brains are at when they were writing this, and how their minds work and feel and think about music. Another cool thing that they do, though, is jump around with ideas. We had some kind of modern hard rock, metal esque sounds at the beginning as far as instrument tones and note choices. Um, speed of drums and intensity of drum playing and stuff like that. To me, it was leaning more into modern metal territory. And after that, we went into this ragtime circus feel. Completely out of nowhere. We had that megaphone effect on the vocalist, and there's some really cool rhythmic synergy going on between what was happening with the drummer and the pianist, with that nice little ragtime run. And then we were bouncing back and forth between that and the metal sound again, and then like a 90s prog rock sound, and then back to the circus, and they were just all over the place. But all of these had such distinct feels to them, and they were all played with exquisite precision and attention to detail to bring these specific sounds and atmospheres and textures out. And I mean, yeah, there is some skill in that, not only just to compose it and make sure that each of the sections don't sound like they're missing something, like like they're being emulated. I don't know if that comes across well. Let me try to. The sections sound authentic to what they're referring to and what their inspirations are, rather than it sounding like a metal band trying to do it and kind of getting halfway there, 70% there. They all sound relatively authentic, and it's just writing that kind of music and having that attention to chord progressions, note choices. All styles of music have their own sort of sounds that they like to rely on. And for them to just move through all these so effortlessly is fascinating, just on a compositional level. But then also you have the musicianship playing, um, where they have to remember all of this and make these transitions and switch gears in their minds to do all this stuff. And it's fascinating from both a writing perspective and a performance perspective. So, yeah, really cool stuff on that front as well. Um, specifically talking about the drums. Not something I would typically bring up on its own, but being that I had a nice visual presentation of them, I want to say a couple of things that interested me as a non-drummer. First of all, that opening section where he was using the inverted cymbal to keep the metronome down, and he had this super syncopated, odd rhythmic bouncing between the snare and the hi-hat. I I would have to listen to it again. I don't think it would be too difficult to transpose, but it would take me a couple of listen throughs to figure out what's going on. But it is very disjointed, especially against what was going on in the drum or in the bass kick. So just that having all those different time feels and all the limbs, it's just there's drumming, man, drumming. It's just awesome to watch in the original definition of awesome, to be in awe of, to watch drummers who can do this. Just have all of that limb dependency, as I learned, is the term. A lot of people told me about that when we checked out the Numa drum playthrough. The term is limb dependent or independency. Yeah, the ability for the limbs to act independent of one another. Yeah, so to be limb independency. Just having the brain firing off on all those different time feels and polymeters, it's just awesome. But then also, like I said, the resulting sound is its own little beast, hearing all these different rhythms working together. So, yeah, real cool stuff all around. They only have 300 subscribers on YouTube, which astounds me because I'm pretty sure many fans of stuff like Dream Theater would, or even Between the Buried and Me, would feel right at home listening to this. I'm not sure how big they are outside of YouTube. I know YouTube isn't always uh, the best way to view, fans or viewership or anything like that. Probably something like Spotify or Apple Music would have a better indication of how big they are. But still, 300 subscribers on YouTube is not a lot, and it only has 265 views. So hopefully there's going to be some people here who just found a band to dive into. At least that's my hope anyways. That's one of the reasons I started this channel, was to, one, for me to learn more about music and see what else is out there in the decade that I've kind of ignored popular music, but also to help share all of this music, to give a platform for people to find new bands and for bands to find new fans. Well, those are my thoughts on Structural Disorders, The Fool Who Would Be King. This is where you guys come in, though. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed it or not, anything that stuck out to you that maybe I didn't talk about, or maybe if the song bounced off you, what you didn't enjoy about it. When you're done with that, you can head up to the description box. There's a link in there for Linktree, which is a super nifty place. It puts everything you need in one place that's related to critical reactions. Would you like to see what I'm talking about on Twitter? Maybe you want to join the Discord community and chat with like-minded metalheads, or actually just music people in general. The community is very diverse. Do you want to help support the channel through Patreon? All those links are in the Linktree link. Above that, you can like, subscribe, and ring the bell. All three of those things help out the channel immensely. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC, with the first of next week's theme. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.